Hello, fellow comeback champions. How are you doing today? I hope it's great. I want you to imagine something for me. You're at home on a Saturday afternoon. You're just chillaxing, laying around on the bed, watching a little TV. When all of a sudden, boom, your bedroom doors burst open and there's your child. Of course, they didn't knock. Have a very special announcement, Mom. What? I'm having a hot flash. I chuckled to myself and I was taken aback because, first of all, this is a 12-year-old. And second of all, this is a boy. But just 1 week later, I found myself in this small, dingy room and I was looking around at the walls and I was thinking to myself, someone really needs to paint this place. Then two people appear, interrupting my thoughts, and they share with me, I'm sorry, but your son has leukemia. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Angela Heath. I am president of TKC Incorporated and also the dean of the Virtual Speaking Academy. So we help mature professionals become self-employed, and we also help speakers go virtual. As you could imagine, finding out that my young son had leukemia was a shock. And it was very much like a COVID experience. In fact, I call it my first COVID. And I tell you why. Because when I think of what's happening in the world, and probably to you right now, I think of COVID this way. I take the initials of the word and I describe it. For example, C is for chaos. When I found out my son was sick, there was so much chaos around me. There were so many new things to learn. There were so many things to avoid. And there's chaos around us now, right? We don't know what to do. We don't know what to avoid. O is for oppression. When I was dealing with those medical folks, even though they were helping me, I still felt like the system itself was oppressive. And many of you are raising your voices now because the systems of our country are not supporting you. You feel like they're oppressive. V is for volatile. One day things are up and the very next day things are down. I is for illogical. Nothing seems to make sense these days. We just can't predict even the future, not next month and not even really next week. And then D is just for pure disruption. When my son was sick, my whole life was disrupted. I had to close a successful consultancy that I had had 20 years and become a hospital mom. And so this COVID-19 for many of you feels the same exact way. Things that you have held on to for a long time, positions that you've had, contracts that you've won, now they seem to be gone. You see, because COVID has had a profound effect on our nation, we all know that. Mom and pop stores are closed now. Some of those were your stores. But not only them, large corporations are filing bankruptcy and are reorganizing, trying to hold on. Some have gone under. Think about it. Neiman's Marcus, Disney, Trader Joe's, many of these companies and many more are having problems during COVID. And what it means for you is that there's an impact for many on your purse or your wallet, right? That's a COVID season when things are not clearly defined. And the average person actually steps back during a COVID season. But because you're a champion, you are going to step forward toward your dream, toward what you want, toward a lifestyle of a champion. So what I'd like to do with you today is just share 3 simple but very profound ways that you can go forward and make a COVID-19 comeback. And I'm going to explain to you how a very simple thing like public speaking can help you boost your business, can help you either get a job, win a contract, or start your own business. So 3 things I want to share. Number 1, get yourself a side hustle. It doesn't matter whether you are employed or if you are a business builder. Everybody needs a side hustle during COVID times, right? And so you're probably saying, well, Angela, where are we going to find these side hustles? Because most of the companies aren't hiring. And that is simply not true. There are many industries that are looking for gifts and talents such as yours right now. There are many companies that are looking for contractors like you right now. But I want to tell you a secret, a way that you can find opportunities right now that are pre-funded and they're ready to go. It's called the online gig marketplace. Now, I wrote a book a couple years ago called Do the Hustle Without the Hassle, and I talked about this marketplace that is invisible to many. And basically what it is are websites that list contract opportunities, short-term work. You know, it can be just a project-based opportunity, or it could be a longer-term contract where you could actually be an executive for a year or so. But it's called the online gig marketplace. And how do you find it? You simply go to Google. You don't have to buy my book. Go to Google, put in the skill set that you want to work in, and behind that, say something like contract jobs, gig websites, and Google will pull up information for you. Most people don't even know this exists. They've only heard of people working with delivery services or Uber or Lyft, you know, and using these online gig sites. But I'm telling you, they can help you. It doesn't matter what you already know how to do. They can help doctors and lawyers and program managers and graphic designers. There are sites specifically for writers and for executives and HR personnel. And the contracts pay fairly decent. So if finances is one of your issues during this COVID season, get yourself a side hustle. Yes, I am saying that you need to start your own business. Whether you call it self-employment or if you're actually building what I call a gig pyre, that's where you look at a team or you partner with people and you go after larger opportunities on the gig marketplace. Let me give you an example of this. Say, for example, you're a graphic designer. So instead of just going after graphic design jobs, you can partner with, say, a writer. You could partner with a songwriter, and then you can offer a larger solution. So you can say, hey, we can design your materials, but we can also write your materials. You can say, hey, I can design the cover for your CD or your music, but we can also perform some lyrics for you. So you just broaden your opportunities when you do that. So you can actually earn a ton of money doing contract work. And I know personally, because remember I told you about my first COVID experience when my son was sick? That's exactly what I did. I started a consulting firm. A consulting firm is nothing but a gig firm. We're getting contracts. And I stayed with that consulting firm for 20 years, and it earned me enough money that I could go with my son full time for 2.5 years, and I didn't have to work. You can do the same thing because you have to take a 360 look at yourself. It's not your last job description. It's not the last contract that you have. It's none of that. It's what's deep inside of you. You know, think about it. Those talents and skills that have been buried for far too long. those skills that you've learned along the way, and the passion that you can bring to the marketplace. When you start to analyze completely who you are and analyze your team if you have one, and find out what kind of skills and talents do they have that you haven't been monetizing. You're going to be surprised. See, that's exactly what I did when I was coming out of my first COVID experience. I began to go online to do master classes and Holy Spirit. That's why. Hello, comeback champions. How are you guys doing today? I want you to imagine something, if you don't mind, for a minute. Imagine you're at home on a Saturday. You are chillaxing, laying across the bed, maybe reading a good book or watching some TV. That's what I was doing when my child came bursting through the door, and of course, once again, did not knock, to announce, "Mom, I'm having a hot flash." Now imagine my surprise, because first of all, this child was only 12 years old, and second of all, this child was a boy. 1 week later, I found myself in this cold, sterile room, very small. And I was just looking around thinking to myself, somebody really needs to paint this place. And then 2 guys came in with white coats. Never a good sign. And they shared with me that my son had leukemia. Hi, my name is Angela Heath. I am the CEO of TKC Incorporated. We help experts take their skill set to become self-employed, and we also help speakers master online presentations. And so that experience of having a child with cancer was like a COVID experience for me. And let me tell you why. See, when I think about what's happening in the world today and some of what you're going through right now, I took the letters of COVID and began to describe it so I could understand exactly what people are feeling and what they're experiencing. And I found that it was very similar to the way I felt and what I experienced when my son was going through cancer treatment. So C is for chaos. It's all around us. I mean, this is the most chaotic I've ever seen the world the way it is right now, right? O is for oppression. When I was dealing with the medical community, they were helping me, but seriously, I did feel like I was a little oppressed. You know, I feel like I couldn't make certain decisions on my own because they had prescripted for me what needed to happen. And you are feeling that, many of you right now. I know it, because it seems like the systems of this world, the systems that we had depended on and relied on, they're all crumbling before our eyes, and it feels like they're pressing on us. V is for volatility. Sometimes things are up, and before you know it, things are right back down. And that's the way it is with cancer treatment, and that's the way it is today. And then I, oh my goodness, everything is so illogical. There's no logic to anything right now, right? And then D, quite obvious, is for disruption. Everything in our world has been disrupted. So you are probably experiencing, many of you, what I call a COVID season that's designed to make you go back instead of pressing forward. But you're a champion. And if you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone, if you're willing to learn something new, if you're willing to believe that it's possible to be successful during this time, you will be in every area of your life. Now, some of you say, well, Angela, 40 to 60% of the small businesses are gone. Large businesses are having problems right now. So what are you expecting me to do? You know that companies like Disney and Trader Joe's and GE, even IBM, all of these companies are either reorganizing, filing bankruptcy. They're having a hard time. This is a heavy COVID season, but for a champion, you can turn this into a win with a little perseverance. Let me tell you how. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes sharing with you 3 ideas that if you get a hold to them, you can literally turn this season into a wonderful experience for you. My first idea is get a side hustle. Yes, I am telling you to become self-employed. Yes, I am telling you that there is something that you have. Perhaps it's not on a job description, and perhaps you've never done a contract this way, but you can find a side hustle. And the way you're going to find it is this little known resource called online gig markets. So this is simply websites that list contract opportunities, and there are literally hundreds of them available. Many of them are very, very specialized. So it doesn't matter what skill set you have, you can always find something. So whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a graphic designer or a writer or an HR executive or a project manager, it doesn't really matter. You can find opportunities in the gig marketplace. And listen, this is why I love it, because these are companies and individuals who are looking for services right now. You don't have to wait. You can win a contract and start working right away. And the great news is that they're already pre-funded when you get hired. So there's no more waiting for 30 days to get your pay. There's no more wondering if the company will actually pay you. Hey, that's some great news, right? And the other reason why I encourage you to get a gig and start a side hustle is because this is a low entry into self-employment. It's a way that you can test using some of your skills in a different way than what you ever thought about, right? And you've already got all of the tools. You've got a computer, you have a smartphone, you've got the talent and the skill to do it. All you need to do is just put it in the marketplace and find those opportunities. Now, certainly there's some best practices, and I wrote a book a couple years ago called Do the Hustle Without the Hassle. And it explains some of the best practices that you've got to do, like make sure you have the app, because when people post an opportunity, they're looking to hire pretty quickly. And make sure that your profile is filled with keywords that explain the metrics that you are able to meet, all of your success points. And then you can also take offline work and bring it online, because the more jobs you have online, the more the search engine will find you. There are many ways that you can leverage this online gig economy. And guess what? If you're already in business, you can leverage it and build a gig pyre. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You can do it a couple different ways. One way is that you can find out from your team what skills and talents they have that you have never monetized. These are things outside of their job description that they're excellent at doing. You could actually post someone on a particular gig site to look for opportunities that match the skill sets, the hidden skill sets that are available in your company. And your virtual salesperson could actually go after all of these contracts that are never found in the newspaper. They're never found maybe even on some regular sites, and get those contracts one by one. Remember, these are people who are looking to hire right now. Another way you can do it as an owner of a company, perhaps you need a little cash flow and you don't want to tap into your team. You could do it yourself. There are many companies who are looking for executives who have a proven track record of building a business. So you could use a couple of your hours to earn some additional money. The gig marketplace is one way that people who are having financial issues can begin to come back, because these opportunities are live and these opportunities are now. Make sense? A second way that you can improve your possibilities of moving forward is excellent presentation skills. Now, when I talk about presentation skills, yes, I do train speakers, but I'm talking about everyday people who have to make presentations. So whether it's to one person or whether it's to an entire group, you have to learn how to present yourself well. And of course, there's much involved in that. It's the way you look, it's the way you speak, it's what you say, it's your call to action. All of these need to be crafted, but it all starts with research, beginning with the end in mind. So if you want to go here, then think all the way back to what's going to get you there and include that in your presentation. Now, I've worked with some professionals who now, because of COVID-19, they need to do their sales pitches online. And it is a little bit different, but it can still be mastered and it still can be done skillfully. But you must start with your presentation skills. Your message needs to be tight first, and then your presentation can be tweaked later. The importance of good presentation is this: the more you present, the more confident you become. The more confident you are, the more people are gravitating to you. The more they gravitate to you, the more they like you, the more they like you, the more they trust you, the more they trust you, the more they hire you. All because of great presentation skills. I tell all of my family and all of my friends, this is a skill you cannot afford to miss. Research has shown that the people who can present themselves well in the spoken word actually are rated higher and are thought to be more intelligent. So you've got to have some really good presentation skills. You've got to look the part. And I see a lot of people going live on Facebook, and it's all good because depending on the situation and depending on the audience, yes, you can go on Facebook, you can wake up in the morning and go on, you can just chit chat and you can have hundreds of thousands of people following you. But I'm talking about a professional presentation. I'm talking about sales calls. I'm talking about calls with your customers where you want them to have a certain impression of you because you know that that will help you command more higher contracts. So think about that. And as you're thinking about that, it leads right into number 3, and that is master this virtual environment. You know, we're going to be here for quite some time. COVID is not going to disappear as quickly as some people predicted. So you might as well learn how to master it. And so this is a good example of how when I had my first COVID experience and I couldn't leave, I couldn't travel to go training and speaking around the country anymore, I started speaking and training online about 8 years ago. And I perfected that. And I figured it out as I went along. And I got some help where I needed. That was a COVID pivot. Now this COVID situation comes around and I have another COVID pivot. Because I've been online for 8 years, people are coming to me saying, hey, can you host virtual events for us? Can you do presentations? Can you help us take our conferences online? Can you teach me how to present in a virtual environment with such confidence competence and creativity as you do. And so it started the Virtual Speaking Academy, which is opening soon. So listen, no, I'm not a cartoon. I'm a real person. And no, I'm not inside of a cartoon, but I am inside of a presentation. Now think about this. I am showing you this academy. I am showing you the 4 pillars that is built on, right? And so this is a marketing strategy for me. As I go through my presentation, I know many of you had read my GEM formula, right? You can do the same thing. When you're doing virtual presentations, you can put your logo up behind you or the logo of your customer. Make an impression on them. That's the creativity part that you have to bring to this virtual world. You can have events, if you have your own events, where you bring in the music, you bring in, the backdrops that support the theme, you bring in gaming. I mean, you can bring in so many things. And no, it's not going to be exactly like in person, but it will make a great impression on your audience. You want confidence when you go into this virtual world. You want to understand the platform that you're working on. How many of you have been to some events where the person didn't know how to work the platform and it was just chaos and confusion? But not for you, champion, because you can learn to use the platform with confidence. And as you build up your presentation skills and you're confident with the platform, then you'll be ready to really engage your audience. You'll be ready to do different things beyond just the polling, asking questions, right? You can bring some of those other apps into your presentation, the fun aspects of it. You can do things where you can have people stand up and do different exercises or bring in a joke master. You can do all kinds of things. You just need to decide what's appropriate for the audience and for the occasion. But you must master the virtual stage. All business is done this way. In fact, there's been a recent study that said 70% of sales today is done in cyberspace. 70%. So if you are experiencing a COVID setback, champion, just go forward. Go forward, be bold, learn this virtual space, test some different things, find a safe environment where you won't feel so bad when you make your blunders, but you have to master this virtual space. So in conclusion, you're a champion. I'm asking you to maybe do some things differently. I'm asking you to have a new confidence in yourself. And it's going to require you push through some barriers. But I'm telling you, if your financial issues is part of your problem right now, the way that you can rise higher is to do these simple things. Get yourself a side hustle. I can't even begin to tell you how many people who have been doing side hustles who now own large companies. Most of the large companies that are self-made, not inherited, they start out with a very small team, a couple partners, or maybe one entrepreneur. And now they're a large, respected brand. So get yourself a side hustle. Don't be held back anymore. You're more than just that job description. You're more than just your company's mission statement. Don't be limited. Explore all of who you are, all of who your team actually can be, and just put it out there in the marketplace. And remember, master presentation skills. Whether you're speaking in person or speaking online, master those skills. They will take you far. And finally, don't be intimidated by cyberspace. There are places that can help you get very comfortable with it and to teach you how you can use the virtual environment to build a business, to find opportunities, find jobs, get your side hustle going, and just make your life more engaging. So guys, I hope that you understand that public speaking is more than just the art and craft of speaking, but it's more than that. Being able to present in a logical way is going to help you go forward. It's going to help you succeed. It's going to help that dream that's been, you know, dead for a little while. It's going to help it get resurrected. So I hope that helps you guys, and I am looking forward to what you are going to do next. This is Angela Heath with TKC Incorporated, and I'm also the Dean of the Virtual Speaking Academy. And if you look below our video, it may be above, but I think it's below. Look below and you will find an opportunity to get a 30-minute consultation with me. So whether you are a professional who's ready to go self-employed, or whether you are someone who wants to learn how to do virtual speaking, we do executive training, we do master classes, and we also have a certification program. So just click on the link. Let's talk 30 minutes and find out how I can help you get past your COVID-19 setback and turn that thing into a comeback. You're a champion.